Could EMMANUEL LATTE LATH be leaving Boro in January? Well, his agent seems to think so. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and a sort of Boro transfer news video for you guys here today. And to be fair, I am starting to consider whether to bring you guys a weekly Boro news / update video alongside the Project Boro stuff, another piece of scheduled weekly content I can guarantee you guys surrounding the Boro, where we can maybe discuss transfer rumours, which are definitely going to heat up as we head towards January, or just general news around Boro with injuries, reaction to games, etc, etc. So if that's something you guys are interested in, do let me know. And this can kind of be the start of that, because the transfer rumours have begun already, and no real surprise, it's come from EMMANUEL LATTE LATH's agent, who seemingly loves to talk publicly about how his player is going to do this, he's going to do that, he's going to move here, he's going to move there, and he's opened his big mouth once again and has said that there is a chance. In fact, he used the word that he expects something to happen in January. This is the quote. It was reported and shared by the great guys at Boropolis. But EMMANUEL LATTE LATH's agent, not for the first time, says he's back to scoring 8 goals in the first part of the championship, and we expect something to happen in January. He is an attacker, and the attackers are always the object of attention in the January market. Now, I'm not going to disagree with what he's saying. He's right. When it comes to January, probably the most sought-after player or the sought-after position is probably a striker. And that's when teams are at a certain point in the year, they know what they want, they know where they are, they're likely to probably panic if they're not in a great position. And what do teams normally turn to when they're struggling? They look to get a striker. And EMMANUEL LATTE LATH has not been averse to interest from Premier League clubs and other teams before. We had this in the summer. We had this on deadline day in the summer. If you remember, when on the eve of deadline day, when we were playing Cardiff City, EMMANUEL LATTE LATH was suddenly out the squad because of interest, very late interest by Ipswich Town. That, of course, didn't materialise. They didn't end up even bothering, I don't think, to get that far down the road with it. And credit to LATTE LATH, you know, he deserves a lot of credit. He still travelled to Cardiff the following day, still played, I think, come off the bench in that game, and despite a barren run of 8 without a goal, I think it was 8 or 9 without a goal to start the season, his work ethic never dropped, and we have seen him return back to the sort of LATTE LATH form that we had last season. However, no matter what Lath does on the pitch, no matter when he scores, when he doesn't, his agent seemingly never gives up on pushing for a move. Now, I get it. He is his agent. His job is to look after LATTE LATH as a player, get him the best deal, get him as far up the footballing pyramid as possible, and try and get him big moves. I get it. But what frustrates me about his agent is how much he does it publicly. We've had this in the summer. We're getting it again now. I think we even had it last season. His agent constantly coming out publicly and hinting or pushing for a move for his striker, you know, trying to maybe gauge attention from other clubs. I don't know if it's trying to alert Boro, if there's some psychological way he's trying to push him to get a better contract. I don't know what his intentions are, but I just don't like how he continues to come out publicly and throw this cloud of doubt over LATTE LATH's future at Boro. I'm not surprised that LATTE LATH's getting interest. That's the nature of being a club like Boro. We've got very, very good players at the level we're at, but we are a club who needs to be sustainable. We are a club that needs to sell. The model we've decided to go down and utilise over the last few seasons in buying young players for cheaper and selling them on for a big profit has worked a treat. It's working perfectly, and Kieran Scott deserves immense credit for that. And no doubt there will be a time when LATTE LATH, who I think we signed for between 3 and 4 million, will probably go on to be sold for around 20, potentially. That's going to happen. I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked, because in Boro's position, there's always a bigger fish. There's always a bigger club. Premier League clubs are always going to come in, and Boro are going to find it very, very hard to compete and deny these big clubs our best players. But when it's done publicly, it just really does my head in, because it makes the fan base anxious. It shines an even bigger light on LATTE LATH's performances. It probably puts even more unnecessary pressure on the player. We saw it at the start of the season, off the back of the Ipswich debacle. All eyes were on Latte Lath and his form, and because he didn't start the season well, the questions were asked. Is it because his head's turned? Is he really in it? Does he want to move on? Is it a after effect and a hangover from the summer transfer drama? I don't think it got to him. I still thought his mindset and his application was fantastic, but it just starts that conversation and it adds pressure. It creates drama. You just don't need it. Just keep it private. Keep it behind closed doors. If he wants to negotiate with clubs, then fair enough. But this has now instantly brought it all back from the summer. Fans are now questioning whether we're going to be losing our number 9 in January. So that's my thoughts on what has happened. Do I actually think we might lose Latte Lath? And would I be okay with us losing Latte Lath? I think everyone is in the same boat when it comes to what happened in the summer. And that was that we'd just come off the back of a very good end of last season. Latte Lath was on fire at the end of last season. And I don't know if we'd signed Tommy Conway or he'd just come in, but we weren't to know how good Tommy Conway was going to be. So back at the end of the summer transfer window, it was a case of, oh my God, Boro are going to lose their number 9 on the eve of the season, or on the eve of deadline day at least. This is going to be an absolute disaster because Boro would have no time to replace him. And that's still true. I would say, Emmanuel Latte Lath would still be a ginormous loss if he were to move on. But what I will say now, looking back with hindsight, looking back now, we know that Tommy Conway has started his Boro career really well. He's got 8 goals, just like Latte Lath. If he was to leave, I would be absolutely disappointed. I would be gutted. It would be a huge, huge blow. Of course it would be. But I wouldn't be as upset by it as I would be in the summer just gone. Now, I feel like Boro will continue to adopt the same approach that we were very, very strong on in the summer. When Kieran Scott came on the Boro Breakdown podcast, when he spoke publicly on a number of different platforms, he said time and time again that the stance of the club is absolutely set and that we are not selling any of our best players because we see this as a season of opportunity to get promoted. I wouldn't be surprised if they have the same conversation with Latte Lath that they did at the end of the summer window, where they say to him, just keep your head down, you're going nowhere, we're not selling you in the middle of a season, stay till the end, and if we don't get promoted in the summer, you're free to talk to whichever club you want. You're free to move on to whoever you want, Premier League, abroad, wherever it is, as long as you stay to the end of the season. And then if we get promoted, great. You stay with us, you're a Premier League player. If not, you're free to do what you want. I would like the club to adopt that same approach, and I don't see why they'd change their mind. However, one big caveat and reason as to why he didn't go anywhere in the summer window was because of how late Ipswich's interest dropped. And if they come straight in for him, or a Premier League team comes in for him on January 1st, it's a different story, because then Boro have time to replace him in the window. It's still in the middle of the season. It's still not ideal. There's still going to be games coming thick and fast. And it's just, not ideal in January to lose any of your big players, if I'm honest. But there probably is more of a chance of it happening if there's interest at the start of the window as opposed to near the end. And I'd like to hope that if the summer transfer window has taught Boro anything, we're going to be prepared for this to potentially happen again, and there to be interest. And there has been rumours that West Ham have been looking at him. Of course, they've just suffered a big blow due to the unfortunate accident that happened to Mikel Antonio. They don't even know if he's going to play football again, so they're a striker down. I think I've also heard Wolves have been interested. Obviously, they're in a dire position, so they might turn to a striker like Latte Lath, who is a good option for lower-end Premier League teams because he could give them something extra to help them stay up. But he could also be a ready-made championship goal scorer if they come down. And at Ipswich, obviously, are probably going to come back in for him as well. I've heard rumours that Liam Delap might be getting looked at by bigger clubs in the Premier League. So if they were interested in him in the summer, they're probably going to be interested in him again. So I feel like Boro are going to be tested for Latte Lath again. And I'm very intrigued to see how we will react. If a £20 million offer dropped on January 1st, I'd take it. If I'm honest, I genuinely would, and there's a few reasons for that. The first is I don't think Latte Lath is quite ready to be a Premier League footballer yet. I still think he's a not mid-table, a playoff to top-end Championship player. I think he's in the perfect place. I think he's at the perfect place. He's at the perfect level. And I still feel like he can get even better at Boro under Michael Carrick. If I was him, and this isn't me being biased, I'd stay another 6 months, because why not? You could be in the Premier League with Boro anyway. If not, you're free to move on and have a pick of probably a few clubs in the summer. However, if a Premier League club offers Boro 20 million quid, one, I don't think he's quite worth 20 million. And two, I don't quite think he's a Premier League player. So if that offer drops on the table, I think Boro will probably consider accepting it. Because if he has an injury second half of the season, his form drops off, or something, he goes another barren run, his valuation could drop again. And we thought this at the start of the season. In September, we thought, my word, we've had a £20 million offer on the table from Ipswich. We've turned it down, and it looked like a great offer when he went through that really barren spell where he didn't score in September. However, now it looks like a better offer again. And you just don't know what's going to happen with the player's form. So while his stock's high, do you look to take it? And I think when you're in Boro's position, you've got to consider it. We can't be turning down £20 million offers left, right and centre, because we are a club who needs this sort of money. We've got big stars at this club who will move on and make us big money. I think Rav Vandenberg will do it in the summer if we don't get promoted. I think he'll be off for probably upwards of 20 million. I think Hayden Hackney might be off as well. He's had, numerous top-end Premier League clubs looking at him for years now. So regardless, I think Boro will make a huge chunk of profit in the summer if we don't go up. Latte Lath might be one that happens in the summer. He might be one that happens before then. In January, the problem we've got is his agent seems to be pushing really hard, making things public and making things really awkward for the football club, and arguably making things more difficult for his own client at this moment in time. So yeah, part of me would accept it. Do I want him to go? Of course I don't want him to go. If it was my choice, I'd keep him here until the end of the season, because yeah, we could replace him, but there's not as much of a guarantee that whoever we bring in will hit the ground running and be at the form that Latte Lath's at now currently. Of course, I'd rather him stay. I'd rather keep the continuity of having him and Conway, taking Boro forward for the rest of the season. And I do hope Boro rebuff any offers that come our way. But I wouldn't begrudge the club for accepting 20 million quid from a Premier League side who are desperate. And desperate clubs cough up the cash a little bit easier in January than maybe they would in the summer. So Boro could well be in a very strong negotiating position. So I would see the reasoning both ways. I do hope he stays, but I feel like if there's one big player who could be out the door in January, it's going to be Boro's number 9. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd be very intrigued to hear what you Boro fans think. Is he a player we have to simply hold on to at any cost? Or is there a price? I mean, every player has a price at the end of the day. And if a certain bid comes in, and you tell me in the comments what bid you'd accept for Emmanuel Latte Lath in the comments, if that bid was to drop, would you take it? And would you allow Boro, and would you trust the recruitment team to reinvest that money in another striker who could come in, who could be cheaper and give us just as many goals as Emmanuel Latte Lath? I mean, for me, I don't think, although Conway is just as good, but in a different way. I don't know any other strikers who offer the same speed, physical attributes like Latte Lath. I think he's very unique. I don't think Boro would find another Latte Lath who could step into his shoes and pick up the baton instantly. So it's a tough balance for Boro, but in our position, a football club in the Championship who needs to make money and be sustainable, unfortunately, it's something we've got to consider. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed the video, do smash the like button as always and subscribe for much more. As I say, I do preview and review every single Boro game here on the channel, and I will try and make probably a weekly, news video of some sort if we've got time in the schedule to discuss other things surrounding Boro. But most importantly, leave me a comment in the section below with your thoughts. And until next time, guys, do take care. I'll see you all in the next one.